What's up, VC? What's up, vinyl community? It's Dan hanging out with you, the Vinyl Geezer, for at least one more video. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend as we're starting to wrap things up. Some of you may be thinking, wow, this is 4 weekends in a row that Dan's made a video. That's right, guys. Getting back into the VC, trying to get my footing again, trying to come out with some good content, some good videos, and this one actually was just inspired by my visit to an antique mall last week. I bought a record there for $5 because it was clean and I wanted to check it out. And when I got home, cleaned it, threw it on the table, dropped the needle, and my mind was blown by the sound quality of it and how great it actually sounded. And so I thought this kind of inspired a video of some surprisingly good sounding records that I've picked up and just kind of didn't expect it. Maybe some more than others. You kind of expected it to sound good, but man, when you put them on the table, it just sounds amazing. Let's get into the video and let's talk about the record. But before we get into the records, I want to explain. I'm not an audiophile. I don't have the system to be an audiophile. I wish I could afford it. I don't have it. So, you know, what apparently my equipment has been called by people on several sites would be mid-fi. So whatever that means. So this is all coming from a mid-fi perspective. As you know, I don't have a $5,000 table. I'm in a small room here. I have to kind of deal with what I have, and I'm not filthy rich. So, you know, I don't have top of the line like Macintosh monoblocks here. I've got a nice Rotel. I've got what I think is a good turntable, which was my Fluence. Got some Klipsch speakers, and you know, it sounds pretty good. You can definitely, I think it's just good enough to where you can tell the difference between a good sounding record and a bad one. I do love a great sounding record. Who doesn't? And when we get into this hobby, this collection, this way of life, whatever you want to call it, these things start making, I mean, they start becoming more important as you move along in your collecting. You'll want the records that sound good because they're easier to listen to. They're funner to listen to. You know, they're not that brick wall master that gives your ears fatigue. So anyway, with no further ado, let's talk about this record I picked up last week. All right? It was this one. Roy Orbison, the very best of. Most of the time, you're just a shot in the dark on best of records. Am I right? I mean, a lot of them just sound bad. They're using all these different generation tapes and sources, and, you know, I don't know. But Roy Orbison, I absolutely love Roy Orbison. This has all of his best hits on it. I mean, everything here. It's got a wide sound stage. It's dynamic. It's quiet. It's beautiful. And Roy's voice, like I said, seemed to be made for vinyl. It's on the Monument label, which was, I believe, his original label. And for $5, this thing absolutely slays. So yeah, Roy Orbison, the very best of Roy Orbison. You guys see this album out and about, and you like Roy Orbison, don't hesitate. It sounds phenomenal. If it's clean, it'll sound great. And for $5, man, I just feel like I feel like this is the greatest deal in the world. Like, I almost feel bad for having only spent $5 for it. All right, moving on. Another antique mall find. Okay, I rolled the dice on this one. This was a $20 buy. And it's because I don't have this album, and that's David Bowie's Diamond Dogs. All right. This thing, it shouldn't sound good, okay? Got this on New Year's Day. This was a first dig of the year. I got this, and I got Enos, Here Come the Warm Jets. So, but this one really surprised me. And one of the reasons it really surprised me is because it's a Dynaflex record, and it had this great jail separation. It's open, a lot of detail going on here. It's dynamic, and yeah, it's a Dynaflex. Like, this should not, by all intents and purposes, this thing shouldn't sound that great, right? I mean, or maybe, I don't know. The Dynaflex, I guess I had one Dynaflex before, and it was a Harry Nilsson, son of Schmielson. which, don't get me started on that record. I'm not a big fan of it. I understand that some people really love it. Not my cup of tea. I love Harry Nilsson, but that record just sounded terrible. So I don't know. Are some of the Dynaflex good? I don't know what the mastering job was on this. It shouldn't have been as good. It shouldn't sound as good as it does. Okay, I'm not saying it's like, this amazing sounding record that'll blow your mind, but it'll blow your mind for what it is, and it sounds pretty good. So anyway, moving on. My friend Paul loaned me this back in 2012, 2013 when I first got into vinyl. And I had some piece of crap Panasonic all-in-one deal that I started with. It was terrible. But I knew that I liked the music on this record a lot. And I really dug it. And I've been looking for a clean copy. You see this everywhere. It's in all the bins. And it's most of the time it's just completely tore up. And that's The Teaser and the Fire Cat by Cat Stevens. This one was kind of special. It's a white label promo, so I kind of expected it to sound good. But I haven't really listened to this record since I had it 10 years ago, since I borrowed it, played it a few times. It wasn't working out on that little turntable that I started out with, that little all-in-one system, So I gave it back to my friend Paul, and I've been on the lookout for it. And I'm always checking them and just never find a clean one. This is super clean. It is a white label promo. I got it a great deal on it. $15. This is I don't know. Either you like Cat Stevens or you don't. I really hadn't listened to this album since Paul had given it to me. I do remember that I loved it, but I was just blown away. It sounds so good. The acoustics. The vocals are right out front. Cat sounds great. It's emotive. It's lively. It jumps off your speakers. It sounds awesome. It's Cat Stevens, Teaser, and the Fire Cat. All right. So you're like, yeah, of course, it's a white label promo. Why wouldn't it sound great? But it just kind of surprised me, I guess. It's been a long time since I listened to that record. That one. I've listened to T and the Tillerman since, but not that one. Anyway. This next one, I don't know. All right, so this was a bargain bin find. It doesn't even have a cover, okay? And there's so much label damage on this record. And I'm going to try to put it in the light just so you guys might be able to see some of the damage that's done on this. I'm not sure if you're picking up on this, on some of the damage that's on this thing. And look at that label. I mean, it's terrible. It's Lightnin' Hopkins going away. For some reason, I was like, it's $5. I'm going to give it a shot. This should not sound good. Okay? It just shouldn't. By all means. This thing should be, it looks awful. There's water damage to the label. It isn't the original on the Bluesville label. This is the Prestige. So from what I've gathered, this could have been from 1964 to 1971. It's got the Van Gelder stamp. The thing about this record, Lightnin' is in the room with you. There is some soft crackle, and I don't know. I mean, I was really blown away. And I was going to get the acoustic sounds, the AP, the Analog Productions version of this. And I keep coming back to the fact that other than having a cover, it's not really something, I don't really need it, because this sounds, this is fine. It shouldn't be, by any stretch of the imagination. This should sound absolutely awful, but it doesn't. Lightning comes into the room with you. If you guys are familiar with this album, you know how well it was done. Van Gelder was a genius. He knew what he was doing with Lightning in the studio. And man, they captured lightning in a bottle on this one. Okay, so anyway, yeah, if you guys happen to have a sleeve for this and no record, let me know. We could work something out. All right, moving on to number 5. And so as you guys are seeing, this is kind of all over the place. We got folk. We've got, what have I showed you guys so far? I've showed you Cat Stevens, David Bowie, Roy Orbison, Lightning Hopkins, and would it be my channel if I didn't show you something like New Order? So New Order's Movement, their first record without Ian Curtis. After that tragedy, Martin Hannett got in. He produced this album as well. Flood engineered it. You guys know who Flood is. And wow, it's this one. I found this. I overpaid for it. I know I did. I overpaid for it. I gave like $50 for it. That's way too much money for this. But I wanted it. And at the time, you weren't finding this anywhere. And I got a chance to look at the vinyl. There is a cut. There is a saw cut here. Yeah, overpaid for it. Sue me. But the vinyl is it's in mint condition. And I really wanted this. So it was either like spend $35 on the reissue or just spend the extra $15, get the original. So that's what I did. And I'm pretty satisfied with it. It's one of those albums that you buy when you're out and you're like, oh yeah, this is a great deal. And you get home, you look it up on Discogs and you go, it just happens. It happens to all of us. Sometimes we eat the bear, folks. Sometimes the bear eats us. But I will tell you, this sounds great. It's on Quax vinyl, probably pressed at RTI. It's nice and heavy. Hookie's bass on this record just pops. It just sounds great. Bernard's guitar tone just cuts like right through the mix. He's got that rude Vox sound coming through. And I'm telling you guys, Stephen Morris, the drums, they're lively when they're using the acoustic drums. Now, I know he did use some electric drums as well. Just a great, and Jillian's synth is coming through good. This is a great, great sounding album. I have nothing else better to say about it. It surprised me how good it sounded. So for the price that I paid for it, it better sound good, and it does. So it delivered. All right, so that's... Whoa, excuse me, I hit my guitar. So that's like 5 records that surprised me on how good they sounded. I got some special mentions here that I want to talk about. And maybe just because I wanted to talk about them, because I think maybe perhaps they're underappreciated. But I want to talk about this band. And I've shown this record before. I've shown this record multiple times. Missing Persons, Spring Session M. You guys, this is still a $5 record. And one day it's not going to be. There's no way it can be. It's amazing. This is an amazing record from start to finish. If you guys don't know about Missing Persons, I was like, when I got this... I knew the song Destination Unknown. I was a disc jockey on a radio station. We did adult contemporary. I did a retro morning show. And Destination Unknown was always one of my favorite tunes to play. I had no idea who this band was, really beyond that. In the record store, I buy this about, 8-7 years ago. I don't remember how long it's been. Anyway, I get home, I pop this on, and I'm blown away. Every single song is a banger on this one. So it's Spring Session M by Missing Persons. Fantastic stuff. So basically, I look these guys up because I'm like, this is way too good. Like, what's going on here? So this is basically Frank Zappa's band doing new wave music. It's phenomenal. It's killer. Dale Bozzio is an amazing front woman for this band. Terry Bozzio is an amazing drummer, and the other guys are just leaving my mind. Warren Cucurullo, am I saying his name right? The guitar player, he's pretty excellent as well. The other guys, yeah, it's gone. But they all worked with Zappa. So Zappa didn't hire just like idiots, guys. I mean, this is just fantastic stuff. If you get a chance, check out Missing Persons, Spring Session M. If you've seen this out and about, you're curious about it, pick up this record. I mean, it's just one of my favorites. It's a go-to, and it sounds great. Like, the production quality is awesome. That copy I have of it, Sounds amazing. And last but not least, everybody's talked about this box set and how great it sounds, but this one also surprised me of the good sounding stuff, and that's this Dylan mono box, this big old heavy thing. You know, I think I gave $150 for this, and it's been the best $150 that I've spent. When you pop on these records, I mean, he is right there. It sounds phenomenal. Believe it. This is a great sounding box set, so you guys get a chance. Even you guys like me with your mid-fi systems, it's going to sound good. I promise, okay? And then last but not least, I just want to talk about this group because I love them. They've got a great new album coming out. Well, I hope it's a great album. They got a great new single out called Mount Airy. And you might have heard me talk about Corrine before. Corrine is a dark wave synth pop kind of synthy dark wave band out of Philly. Phenomenal stuff. This album, The Night We Raise, is just a work of art. It belongs right in like the midst of synth pop 80s. 1983, this fits right in. And their debut album here, it's called New Arrangements. Fantastic stuff. Check out Corrine, guys. They got a new album coming out. Oh, I forget the name of it, but there is a single called Mount Airy. Check it out on Bandcamp. Check it out on iTunes. I can't plug these guys enough. You know, I love synth pop, and synth pop is probably, I don't know, it's one of my favorite genres. It's like, I'm the weirdest taste. It's like, you know, synth pop, metal, classic rock, jazz. I like all of it. Yeah, you know, I like 80s top 40 stuff. Genesis is one of my favorite bands. My tastes are all over the place. So I've got everything from Acid Bath to Mike and the Mechanics and Steve Perry in my collection, of course. So yeah, just how it goes. Anyway, you guys, I hope you have a great start to your week. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for liking and subscribing. Go ahead and sub to Geezer, give him some watches, eh? So anyway, you guys have a great week. Keep digging them Rekkids, all right? We'll see you guys later. Peace. Much love to you. Bye-bye.